Hi, in this session we're going to be talking about how to do table of contents in your project papers. So we're back into the template, the paper template, and as you'll see it's already been formatted with the titles marked in either level 1, level 2, and let's see if we have a level 3. Here's a subheading 3 right here. So let's start by talking about how to mark a heading. So I'm working in Word 2007. Those of you who are working in Word 2003 and older, you'll have a different look up here, but basically the words that Microsoft uses are the same, so just look for the words that I'm using. So as you can see, Chapter 1 is all in caps, centered at the top. If we go into References, you'll notice on this side there are, this is the information for the table of contents. You'll notice in this drop-down box, if you click on this, it shows that this title is set at level 1. If I don't want this to appear, I would check Do Not Show in Table of Contents. You see what happened? The formatting changed. If I put it back into level 1, again it's centered and formatted correctly. So every time I make a change to a title and then I generate or update the table, see this tab right here talks about how to update the table. If you click on that, it'll update the table. If I make another change and hit update table, it's going to ask me now, you want to do the entire table or just the page numbers. Every time you mark a new heading, you need to make sure you've updated the entire table, or else it won't change the language here. So I say OK. Let's go down to the 5th book title. Now your computer is supposed to, if you hold down the control key and click on the title, it's supposed to take you to that. I don't know why this one's not working, but yours should work. So let's go to page 6. You see how as I scroll down, that little button says page 2 right next to it. This is a quick way of going down to the page that you need. So we're going to page 6. Here we are, and it says 5th book title. So let's just change this and see what happens to our table of contents. So we're going to call this one Preaching and Teaching. Okay? Now let's go back up to our table of contents, find our book. Here's our 5th book title, and now let's update our table, and you'll see it changed to Preaching and Teaching. So that's what it's supposed to do. But let's go back down to page 6, and let's pretend that you're in page 6 and you accidentally put your cursor here and you decide, okay, I'm gonna start typing here, and so you start typing text, not realizing that you are now going to make this a title. So let's go back up, and I want to show you what happened. I'm going back up. Here's our Preaching and Teaching. I'm going to hit update, and I want to update the entire table so you can see what happens. It brought my text right in there. You see that? Now obviously we don't want that in our table of contents, so let's go back down to page 6, and I'll show you how to fix that. You accidentally put this text into your title. What we would do is go to this button, Add Text, and remove it from your table. Okay? Now if we go back up into our table, again, click on Update Table, you'll update the entire table, click, and that language that we did not want here is now disappeared. Isn't that great? Now I'm going to show you how you can change the formatting of your table of contents. This is, I have formatted this to be a certain way, but sometimes when you pull in a document, it won't retain that formatting. So this little button right here says Table of Contents. You need to be in your table when you're doing this, by the way. Click on that, and it's going to bring up this list. What you want to do is go into Insert Table of Contents, and it brings up this screen. Now what we want to do is, right now it is formatted correctly, but let's pretend that it's not. I'm going to go down and click on this button here that says Modify. When I click on that, you'll see that it's got a list of the levels. This is Table of Contents level 1, 2, 3, and so on. What I'm going to do is click on Modify, and this brings up this formatting page, and I can change. Sometimes the font will be wrong. You always want your font to be Times New Roman. You always want it to be 12 point. Well, what if it says, oh, it's bolded, and you don't want it bolded? Click on that, and you want to make sure that it's left aligned, not center or right aligned. And you want to go down to this button, Format. You're going to format the paragraph. Okay, now this is what gives you the spacing. So for your first level, of course, you want it aligned all the way to the left. But as we get down to the second and third levels, we want those to be indented, correct? Line spacing is double to start with, so we're pretty much okay. If your tabs are wrong or there's not a dot leader, you can go into Tabs, and you'll notice that the first indent is at 1/2 inch. This one, you'll notice it's right aligned and it has a dot leader. Okay, so you should only have 2 tab stops in your table of contents. So you can set it, or we're just going to cancel because we don't really want to change that one, and we're going to cancel that. Let's go to Table of Contents 2, Level 2, so you can see how I have it set up. Now, again, here's that opening page, and we're going to modify. Oops. Modify. Okay, here we go. So in Level 2, see how it says Level 2, make sure it says Times New Roman, 12, not bold, left aligned, and we're going to go to Format again, and we're going to go to Paragraph. Now you'll see that this is left indented at 3 inches. I mean 0.3, which is 3 spaces. Double spacing, we say OK and OK. Level 3, same thing. We're going to modify this one. I just want to show you that the format of the paragraph is indented from the left 6.6 inches. Again, double spaced, no spacing before and after. Okay? So there you go. That's how you would change, and it says, do you want to replace the selected? Say OK, and it should be exactly the same as it was before because that's how I had it set. Okay? Any other information about Table of Contents? Just to make sure that all of your titles are identified. If we go into the content of our paper, let's go down into the project, and I wanted to point out to you that the spacing before and after our headings should be, let me show you here. Okay, how I've got this one is it's double spaced, and we've got 12 points before and 12 points after. And that way it gives us, actually what the Turabian requires is 3 spaces before and after. So you'll see it's double spaced plus 1 space. That makes sense? If you put on your reveal codes, you can see that there aren't any hard returns. Instead, I have formatted this the way that it needs to be. Let's say you need to add another subheading, and you're just having a really hard time formatting it. What I suggest is go ahead and block a heading, copy it, paste it where you want it to be, and then delete these extra hard returns. And now you'll see that it's formatted exactly correctly. Let's say this is your second subheading, and if we go back up into our table of contents, it should, when we regenerate that, let's go down in the table where this appears. Well, we've already got one subheading too, but let's regenerate, update entire table, and we should have two. You'll see we have two subheading 2s now. So that's exactly what you want to see. The other way that you can do that, if you're confused about how to repeat a formatting, is to use the paintbrush. Don't know how many of you are familiar with the Format Painter, but this, if you clicked on this, it's going to take all of the formatting for this line, and wherever you click, it's going to format it exactly the same way. So if we went back up, now I have formatted this line exactly like that one is. Let's see what happens in our table if we go in there and hit Reference, Update Entire Table, OK, and you'll see there it is in his book. You see that? So those are just two ways that you can copy a format that's already in there so that you don't have to stress about how to do that. Again, if you have any problems or questions, you can always contact me at judim@bgu.edu. Have fun!